We're going to review today. Good morning, everybody. Hi. In spite of the bad news, we have to continue, go on, and be stronger in our Torah, in Avos Hashem, and Avos Ish L'Re'ehu, Ben Adam L'Chaveroi. We are now starting the Shiur Amud Yomi. The Amud where we are in is Lamed Vav Amud Beis. However, I am on purpose going back to the Mishnah. If you don't mind, people, we're going to go to the Mishnah, then skip and then read Tosafos. We have a very, very important Tosafos to see today. To see the Mishnah, the Tosafos, then continue to Amud Beis. Okay, so we're flipping back to Lamed Vav Amud Aleph in the Mishnah in the bottom of the page. This Shiur's Lilu Nishma Sovi Moir Menachem and Akiva Rus Bas Shalom Sor Bas Moshe Aviva Bas Moshe. L'refus Chana Batzima Pnin Chavas Gil Rochel. L'refus all the wounded soldiers, they should have refus Shlema. B'soch Shachol Yisrael, all the captive people should be freed very, 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 very soon. Says the Mishnah. The Mishnah is giving us a list of avodas and also other activities in Beis Hamikdash who are not defined as avodas. All these things cannot be performed by women. Okay, and I'm going again to read the Mishnah detail, and then we're going to see the Tosafos. Asmichos. When a person brings a korban, not all korbanos, but many korbanos, the person would have to, before shechting the korban, the owner of the korban would have to, like, by the way, the Kohen Gadol in Yom Kippur, right? We all say that in Yom Kippur, place his two hands over the head of the animal and make vidui, right? Confess for whatever he did. That's michos. Tnufois, both menochos. What? And some korbanos, yeah. Atnufois, okay. There's micha and there's micha. Atnufis is when you pick up and down and also back and forth the mincha or certain parts of the korban, like the korban shlomim. You pick it up and down, yeah, you wave it. That's called tnufois. What's a goshois? Let's say this cup would be full of mincha. Yeah, there's a kli with mincha, with meal offering. Before you do anything else, when the first time you approach the mizbeach, yes, you take the kli with the mincha and touch the left-hand side with the corner of the mizbeach, which is the droimis ma'arovis, the one on the southwest, which means as you go up the ramp of the mizbeach, it's to your left. Okay, that's where you have to touch the kli with the corner of the mizbech with the kli, and then move backwards, and then you do the rest. You do the kmitza, the kmitzos. Kmitzos is when you take the mincha and you take some of the meal of the flour or the already baked good or fried, and you basically koimetz. You take with your fingers, with the three middle fingers, you take some a koimetz, a bunch, a small amount, and you place it on the mizbeach. That's like the blood of the korban is the kmitza, the koimetz. That's what represents the mincha by Hashem being burnt in honor of Hashem. The rest the kohanim eat. Menochos are usually kodesh kadoshim. The aktoros are burning of the flesh, either by the oila, it's almost the entire animal. Aktora of most other korbanos is just the imurim, yeah, the intestines, laminehem. The amelikos, as we showed yesterday, you know, quite graphically from the book, amelikos is, yes, the amelikos is when the kohen, melika is what's done, the beheading of the birdie, of the bird, the yoino, or the toe, or ben yoino, the turtle dove, or the dove, and the melikos, the way the kohen does the melika, he stands on the actual mizbeach, yeah, on the right-hand side. Yeah, in other words, as you go up the ramp to your right, that's the middle ramp there in the middle level, not up the mizbech, the middle line, the soivev, the kohen stands over there, he does the melika with his finger, moilek the entire head from the entire neck, yeah, cuts the neck of the animal, of the oila, then he puts the head and the rest of the body on the mizbeach. So melikos va'kabolos. We're going backwards. Kabolos is accepting, receiving the blood after the person. When I say the person, can be anybody, men, women, kohen, not kohen. Anybody can do shchita in Beis Hamikdash. That's why it's not mentioned here. Shchita is not mentioned because it could be done by women too. Right after the shchita, you have to accept the blood that's coming out of the neck. That's called kabbalah. It's an avoda. Kabbalah is an avoda. I keep saying the word avoda. Avoda means it's not stomach activity. It's something that has to be done with the right mindfulness. It has to be done with the right kavanah. if you accepted the blood with the idea of I'll eat it later, I will eventually eat the korban later, or makriv it later, that's pigul, it's terrible. And if you ate that flesh afterwards, you have chorus. If you think I'll eat it outside Beis Hamikdash, it's called psul. It's also also to do. It's not chorus, but it's also. Yeah, so you have to have the right mind, and only by kohanim. The hazois. Hazois we're going to discuss today. Yeah, hazois means basically sprinkling, and I'll tell you a little secret. We are talking here about the sprinkling of the blood. Yeah, of in certain situations. Yeah, all these nagim ba'anoshim v'lo b'noshim. All the above only apply to men, not to women. The only exception to the rule is women usually don't do tnufa. A woman wants to bring korban toido. Korban toido. When do you bring korban toido? The equivalent of a goimel, more like a goimel is equivalent of toido. Yeah. In other words, a woman came back from Chutz La'aretz. She was flying. She was in a boat. 1 second. The zoom's not. Even a plane, you have to do a goimel. What's very low? Recorded. Okay, let's continue. I'm sorry, there was a pause, unexpected. Chutz mimin chasoito v'nezira, yeah, shehen, there were two menochois, shehen menifois. There are two types of menochois which were lifted up and down by a woman together with a kohen, as we'll see in the Gemara. What are those things? Soito. A soito has to bring a mincha, a special mincha with no oil, with no levoina. It's a very simple mincha from what? From barley, because she behaved like an animal, and so too she has to bring animal fodder, which is soir, which is barley, and that mincha is lifted by the kohen, but also by her, right? Before the kohen brings it up to the mizbeach. The nezira and nozir, male or female nozir, are the same. And nozir, male or female, they have to do tnufa. What are they manif exactly? Well, the korban, one of the three korbanos of the nozir are shlomim. The shlomim of the nozir, the zroya, the forearm, the right forearm of the animal, is something that you have to cook. Quite rare for Beis Hamikdash. You cook it in a pot in Beis Hamikdash, and the hair of the nozir that he shaves goes under the pot, right? And that's zra b'shela, together with 2 chalois. There are 20 chalois altogether he has to bring. 2 chalois, yeah, he lifts up the zroya, and the 2 chalois, him and the kohen together lift it up and down, right? And that is considered the tnufa of the nozir, and Nazira does the same. Now, frak Tosafos. I'm going now to Tosafos. Today we're going to see a Tosafos from beginning till the end. Wow. Tosafos time. Akabolois va'azois. Frak Tosafos. Yeah, the last Tosafos in the page. Yeah. Kabbalos va'azois. It's a lezer maskal on the page. Says Tosafos, something that I was wondering about. I don't know if you noticed, but you know what is, I'll ask you a question before we go on. What is the most important part of the avoda? What's the climax of the avoda of a korban? When do you say a korban did it? When do we say that the korban has reached did its job? Can you tick the box and say the korban was brought? What? Accepted. When is it accepted? Right. When does the Baruch Hu accept it? I'm talking here, as far as we can see, Baruch was right. Peanut is it. And that is the point in which the zrika was done. The zrika, once the blood was on the mizbeach, even before the let's say the imurim or other parts were burnt, the actual blood that was spilled on the mizbeach, that is what Hashem wants. Yeah, like you bring your own blood, that's when the kapar takes place. You can tick the box. What happens later? That's very important. It says kohanim eat v'abaylim miskaprim. That's later. But the fact that the blood reaching the question is, if blood reaching the mizbech, why aren't we mentioning it in the Mishnah? Yeah, it says hazo, but it doesn't say zrika of regular normal blood of a korban. Hazo is of a bird. But what does it mean? Secondly, there's another avodah called hoilocho. What's hoilocho? Well, where was shchita done in Beis Hamikdash? In most korbanos, in Kodesh Kodeshim Batzafon, in the north. Between the north and the Mizbeach, there's a distance, yeah? So what do? You accept the blood with a vessel after shchita, and then you do hoilocho. You lead it, you take it to the Mizbeach area. And therefore, this hoilocho is also an avodah. It's machlokes in the Mishnah if the hoilocho needs to be done with kavanah or not, if it's me'akev, but it's an avodah. How come the Mishnah missed that? Are you telling me women can do halacha? Can they do zrika? What do you mean? Answers Tosafos, v'halacha v'zrika lo ktani. You know what they're not mentioned? The halacha bichlal Kabbalah. Halacha is included in Kabbalah. Sharmin v'krivoi hakoyen nafka k'moi Kabbalah. Just like we saw in the Mishnah, Kabbalah is women are excluded from Kabbalah, so too they're excluded from halacha because halicha is all meant. It's all one avoda. Halacha is included in Kabbalah halachically, and therefore it's one and the same. If we mentioned Kabbalah, we meant Kabbalah and the following step. It's all one unit. The zrika b'chlal hazor, which we will meet later in the Amud, and the next Amud is mentioned in the Mishnah. Hazor means the hazor of a bird, the bird's blood, and so too the hazor of the korban, of the regular korban, which is a zrika, is also learned from there. Now comes the question I asked yesterday. Why do you need Pesukim in the Gemara to exclude women from all these avodos? Yeah, they can't do this and that. Nufa, Gosho, Kmitza, everything. Tepukle, you can get that information from elsewhere. Why? The Kula Mitzvah says Shazman Groma Havu. All these mitzvahs, all the avodos in Beis Hamikdash are mitzvahs says Shazman Groma. Sha'enena Gos El Bayoim. They only apply by day. 99% of activities in Beis Hamikdash were when? By day, not by night. All these activities here are only by day. Kabbalah, Ilocha, Zrika, Azot, Tnufa, it's all by day. How do you know it's all by day? It says the day in which they were commanded, he commanded them to bring the korban. So it's a mitzvah says man groma, finished. It's like tefillin, tzitzis, sukkah, lulav. Yalla, we've done that already. We know that already. Why do you need special psukim to exclude the avodah? V'yesh loimar, answers Tosafos, the mikol mokoim, nevertheless, itzich kol imutinu. Why? Why do you need to exclude it? Ulemifsal korban benoshim. That's a different ball game already. Lemifsal korban benoshim. To say that if the women did bring it, if women koyhanois brought the korban, then what would we say? That the korban is disqualified. You have to bring your chatas again. You have to bring your whatever again, your osham. It was brought by a woman. A woman kohenis took care of your korban. Not only it's she's not commanded to do it, she should not be doing it to the point that it disqualifies the korban. That it wouldn't know, right? Women sit in the sukkah, women take lulav, women hear shofar, they can if they want to, right? But shenken with avoda, they shouldn't. That's why we need an extra pasuk to give them an extra layer of distancing themselves from the avoda to the level that the avoda just doesn't do the job. Yeah, if it was done by women, then no, then it's an X, not a tick. Yeah, the mechalali avoda. They mechalel, they desecrate the avodah of avodos and psula. Miu. Now comes the question which I started telling you yesterday. Mismicha koshe. Now smicha is not an avodah. Smicha is done normally by Israelim. Each one brings his own korban. Yeah, I say my vidui that I turn on the light by mistake. I thought it's Friday, and you say that you went to a restaurant and you were sure it's mahadrin badat, and really it was chaylev, right? You found it was chaylev and not nice fatty steak. Yeah. Each one with his own vidu. It's not an avodah, it's an Israel thing on his own korban. Sometimes koyanim do it, fine. It's not necessarily a kohen thing to do. And then, amai, frek toises, amai itzrich kol miyutinu. The avodah lo yischalal behachi. Kloimar, lo yismicha nami ene korban posul bekach. Right? Which means, let's say a person did not do smicha. It's not an avodah. And even if smicha wasn't done at all, then the korban can still, the show may go on. Let's say I forgot to do smicha. I brought the korban, it was rushed, I forgot, no kohen reminded me, and I didn't know, and I brought the korban went along, it's okay, b'di'evet, it's fine. B'di'evet, okay, it's not me'akev. So then you can't answer, you can't give your answer, right? Because smicha is done only by day. So I know women are not supposed to do it l'chatchila. Now you can't tell me you're disqualifying it by women doing it, because even if it's not done at all, it's not disqualified, right? The imnasa smicha b'noshim lo mifsal korban b'kach. You can't pass on the korban because the wrong kind of person did the smicha, right? Doesn't make sense. So why do you need to mention smicha in the Mishnah? It says shazman groma, mitzvah says shazman groma, v'shloima. Answers Tosafos. The mikol makom itzrich kol miyuti. I still need the pasuk to tell me that the smicha does not apply to women. Why? The sal kedaitech amina. I would have thought mishum dechtiv v'somach v'shochat. What's the next thing after smicha? What happens after the smicha? Goodbye, Charlie. Behema gets shechted. Not only it's not just happens to be together. They're written together. There's a hekesh. Somach v'shochat. Itkash smicha l'shchita. And there are hekeshim that compare for other halachas smicha to shchita. Ma shchita ksher benoshim. I told you all along. Shchita is the one thing women may do. Yeah. In the very beginning of Maseches Chulin says, yeah, people that are disqualified for certain things, the shchita is kshera. There's a question of what is psulim, but the shchita is okay. Shashchita kshera bezorim ubenoshim. Yeah, afsmicha kshera benoshim. In other words, just like women are kosher for shchita, I would have thought, wait a second, somach v'shochat, nothing to do with me'akev. I know it's not an avodah, so what? But just like shchita is okay for women, I would have said smicha shchita, the buddy, Siamese twins, smicha shchita. So just like shchita is okay with women, I would have said smicha as well. That's a very heavy havamina. That's why the Torah takes special care to tell me, that women are, although women are okay for shchita, nevertheless they're possible from smicha. It doesn't mean possible that anything bad happened, but they're just not supposed to do it. They're not supposed to sit in the sukkah. If they want, they can, fine. By smicha, they're not supposed to be soimich on the korban. It's not their thing to do necessarily. Utenufa nami. What about tenufa? Tenufa, to pick up and down, to lift and wave the korban back and forth, the korban or the mincha, prior to bringing the korban or the mincha, the korban is not prior to bringing, not true. Korban is prior to the Torah, actually. But the tenufa, when you bring up and down, yeah, it's not an avodah. It's done, as we see, partially by Israel sometimes. It's not called an avodah. Tenufa is not an avodah. So tenufa, well, why do you need why do you need a pasuk to exclude women from tenufa? Why? Tenufa is not an avodah. Nothing happens if it wasn't done. And secondly, tenufa, besides not being me'akev, is not similar to shchita. So why would have I thought that women are excluded? Why do you need a pasuk to tell me that? Because anyhow, what is it? Mitzvah says Azman Groma. Azman Groma, I know women are not supposed to do. So why do you need to tell me? Why does the Torah spend words to tell me that women are out of the game? There's no havamina. Answers Tosafos. Nufa, I'll listen to your question soon. Nami itzrich lemiuti. Why do you need a pasuk to exclude them from tenufa? Since we see, as we'll see later, and we saw in the Mishnah, there are two tenufos which apply to women, soito and nazira. You open the door already. You open the breach. There's a chink in your armor. You're telling me women are out? Oh, well, a woman is supposed to do tenufa of the soito, supposed to do tenufa of the nazira. Maybe there's some kind of, I don't know, binyanav, mematzinu, kalvachomer, story. I can find out already reasons to expand it, right? Comes the turn, tells me, puts me back in my place. Women are supposed to do the only tenufas women are supposed to do are the smicha, are the soita and the zira. The other tenufas still do not apply to them. Questions are welcome. Now we're moving to Amud Beis, by the way, because we're done with that, and now we're in the Hazois. We're now in Lamed Vav Amud Beis, turning the page. The Hazois. Yes, sir. Questions and comments are welcome. Okay. We are back to the Gemara now. Lamed Vav Amud Beis. Back to the Gemara in Amud Beis. The Gemara in Amud Aleph we saw already in the previous year. You're welcome to see that. Now we are up to Vehazois. Yeah. Lazois means to sprinkle. So there's some kind of sprinkling that is to do with with the sprinkling that is done by men, male kohanim, and not by women kohanos. But before we continue, I want to read to you another very delicious Tosafos. Today is the day to do Tosafos. 1 second. No. Before we continue, you just have to see this Tosafos. You can't miss it. Look at this. The first Tosafos in the page. Lamed Vav Amud Beis, first Tosafos. Short and sweet. Basically, Tosafos is now asking a general question on the whole business. We are now imagining a world where there would have been women kohanos, and we say no, there are no women kohanos because of all the Pesukim that exclude them from serving Beis Hamikdash. What would they wear? Blue and light blue? Beis Yaakov? Would they wear big day kihuna? You tell me they're going to wear a shal? How do you know? Huh? Yeah. Frek Tosafos, that's for sure. They won't wear lotzana. I agree they'll be tzanua. But then the question is, we all know that koyanim, the normal koyanim, the male, are supposed to have a very, very regimented, very clear uniform. Frek Tosafos, ve'im toima, typically the chol hani enem ksheros benoshim, Tosafos assumes that women would not wear the same clothes as men, as the male kohanim, and if so, if they can't wear the male kohanim, they would just wear the regular dress or skirt and top and whatever they wear, yeah, or the bisyakov attire. That is not the big day kahuna, and if so, they're disqualified. Da omar beperk beis dezvochim da afilu kohanim is man shen big day aleim en kunosam aleim. If a kohen comes to Beis Hamikdash wearing a kapita, or wearing what, jeans and t-shirt with a tzitzis, or he wears a hat and jacket, or he wears a jalaba, whatever he wears, it's all possible. There's only one thing he can wear in order to have the avoda functional, that is big de kehuna. So a kohen without big de kehuna is not a kohen. And kehuna samalem is the kazar for that. I mean, he's not a zar for everything. So therefore, anyhow, women can't wear this bgodim, we assume. So anyhow, they're disqualified. Why do you need the Torah to tell me? Yeah, because they're women. It's anyhow because they're not wearing the right clothes, so they can't work. Unbelievable. Answer number one: maybe they did wear big dekuna. It's not lo tzanua because it's a tunic. Yeah, it's a long thing. It's like a long dress with the kohanim wore. You know that. Underneath, you have, without going into details, they have the michnasaim that's under the begodim. Nobody sees that. Nobody sees the michnasaim. So a woman can wear big dekuna, right? So maybe, and then therefore the Torah addresses that case. If a woman wears a big day kohen, once it completes a regular big day kohen, that's a uni gender. Okay, it's both. It's fine. I would have said, and therefore kamash malan, although she wears the right clothes, she's still disqualified. Give me a second. Inami yeshloimar kivan sheloni lomdesha. Here comes a lomdesha answer. Kevan sheloni tstavu bebig day kiuna lohavu mechusori begodim. That's lomdes. That's lomdes. Now we are briskers. Yeah. Answer Tosafos. A male kohen, yeah, supposed to wear the big day kahuna. Yeah, if he's missing one of the four items, he's missing the belt, let's say, disqualified completely, right? He has to wear the clothes. Otherwise, you are male Kohen, you're expected to wear A, B, C, D, four bgodim, otherwise out. A woman, in theory, had she been kosher lekehuna, we wouldn't have expected her to wear the big day kahuna. He's arguing in the first answer. I would have assumed she's wearing like a, I don't know, it's a new skirt and a blouse and this, yeah. Mainly, she's not expected to wear those begodim. If she's not expected to wear the begodim, she's not mechusar begodim. She's a different creature. The Gemara in Shabbos Daf Samech Beis Amud says women are different nation. Am acher, they're different kind of people, right? Regarding clothes, yeah, something else with it. Yeah, so mimela, that's lomdus. In other words, you only mechusar begodim if you're expected to wear the begodim. If you're a different kind of creature, not supposed to wear the begodim, you're not mechusar begodim. She's wearing what she normally wears. Yeah, she wears the whatever she does. Yeah, the house coat, and it's not puzzling. Therefore, we need a Pesukim to tell me. Because of this, women would have overcome the dress code issue. Therefore, the Torah comes and tells them, "Sorry, lady, you are apostle, completely disqualified from any of the avodas except for shchita." Yes, Peretz, Rabbeinu Peretz. Yes, weiter. As always. Now, the word sprinkling is a big word. What kind of sprinkling, hazah, is a woman exactly excluded from? Hazah dehecha. What kind of sprinkling are you talking about? The pora. If you think about the pora aduma, and don't get this wrong, we're not talking about sprinkling the the water of the mayan of the spring that you sprinkle over the tome person. No. We're talking about the very, very first stage of preparing the Pora Aduma. The preparation of Pora Aduma has many, many intricate details. You go to Har HaZeisim, Har Mishcha, where my father-in-law should wake up soon, yeah. They go to Har Mishcha, facing Har HaBais, facing Kodesh Kodoshim. Say facing, it's far away, but direct visual line to Kodesh Kodoshim. And there, a Kohen, which we're going to discuss soon, the Kohen is either Kohen Godel or Kohen Hedyot shechts the Pora Aduma, yeah, and then he has to sprinkle 7 times from the blood of the Pora Aduma against the Kodesh Kodoshim, yeah, as if you have a window against Kodesh Kodoshim, yeah, he sprinkles 7 times, is geographically very far away, direct line from Kodesh Kodoshim is the Pora Aduma, and the Kohen sprinkles 7 times, yeah, from the is Makabel the dam from the kli, he sprinkles 7 times, yeah, towards that direction. Maybe that's what we're talking about. Maybe we're coming to say that a woman cannot do that sprinkling of the blood 7 times of the Pora Duma facing the Kodesh Kodoshim. Eat the Pora, if that's what you're talking about. It says in the Torah that the one doing it is Elazar. Now, who's Elazar? Elazar back then was a Sgan. Now, funnily enough, Elazar, the Gemara in Yoma says, around Membez, the Gemara says that in the times of the Mishkan, it was Elazar, the Sgan. Nowadays, in the normal way, there were 7 Paras Adumas in the times of Beis Hamikdash, yeah, different Beit Hamikdashers. The Para Aduma, the one who does the Shchita and the Zrika nowadays, would either be a Kohen Gadol or a Kohen Hedyot. So if it's a Kohen Gadol, says Rashi, obviously it's not a woman, because only a Kohen Gadol can do that, right? A woman cannot be Kohen Gadol. That's already a limitation. Yeah, no question about that. Only a Kohen Gadol, not a Kohen Hedyot. If not a Kohen Hedyot, clearly women cannot be there either, and therefore it's out of the question. The Tosafos asks the question, but the other way, we'll leave it for now. Idepnim. Another kind of sprinkling is inside. Inside where? What is the holiest? What is the second holiest place in Beis Hamikdash? The second holiest. That's not so confusing. Oh, the area of the Mizbach HaKtoires, and you have the menorah, you have the Shulchan, the Kodesh, the Kodesh. Now, when do you sprinkle blood over there besides Yom Kippur? Don't go all the time to Yom Kippur. Let's say there's a public figure who sinned. Meaning what? It's either BSD who gave the wrong kind of instruction, halachic instruction, which we learned in the entire Masechet about called Horios, and then they have to bring a big fat bull, yeah. And where is the avoid of that bull done? Inside the Kodesh, and the Kohen goes inside after shechting it outside. He goes with the blood inside, and he sprinkles 7 times outside Kodesh HaKadoshim onto the Paroiches, yeah, from the Kodesh onto the Paroiches, the ones separating between Kodesh Kodesh and Kodesh, and then 4 times over the Mizbeach HaZohov. The same is done to a Kohen Gadol. A Kohen Gadol who sinned also, yeah, he has to bring Kohen Mashiach, brings the korban also to the inside. It's an inside avoda, and there you have sprinkling like this with a finger from the kli, boom, 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 7 times, similar to Yom Kippur, but from the outside, yeah. Yom Kippur is also done in and out, yeah. The Kodesh Kodoshim from onto the parochet from the Kodesh, he sprinkles 7 times, and then 4 times on the Mizbeach Hazov on the corners. Maybe that is what the Torah is coming to exclude regarding women. Maybe that's the Hazor that you're talking about, that only a male Kohen can do and not a female. And says the Gemara, HaKohen HaMashiach Kosuv Bo. Clearly not. It says the only one is a Kohen HaMashiach. The only one who's doing it is a Kohen Gadol. He's the one who does that avodah. If Kohen HaMashiach, then obviously, as Rashi says, L'mayit Hedyot, and Kol Sheken, L'mayit Nashim, L'mayit any other Kohen, including Nashim. Ela, Hazor de ben Oif. And that's the final conclusion. Hazor de Oif. In other words, the Hazor, what's the difference between Hazor and Zrika? And Oif, as we described before, that you shecht it on the Mizbeach, right, on the side of the Mizbeach, and then what do you do after you shechted and beheaded the bird? You take the bird and with the actual body of the bird, there's squeezing and there's sprinkling. Depends if it's oil or chatos. Yeah, with one of them, yeah, after you sprinkle onto the mizbeach, right? You sprinkle to the mizbeach and then you squeeze. Baruch Hashem, it's beautiful avodah. Hashem loves it. Yeah, the ben oif. So that hazov, the ben oif, that cannot be done by a woman. Why can't it be done by a woman? We haven't seen a pasuk that excludes it. We learn it b'kal v'chomer from ben tzoin, from sheep, from goats, which means a regular behema korban. What's a kal v'chomer? Uma ben tzoin sheloi kovel okoin l'shchitosoi, kovel okoin la'azaosoi. A ben tzon, meaning a regular korban, a big animal korban of a behema. Who shechts the big behema? Anybody, not only kohanim. Anybody can do the shchita, as long as it's kosher Jew or Jewess, they can do the shchita. And yet, when it comes to hazah, meaning to the zrika of the blood, zrika sadam, which is not sprinkling, but in oil at least, and in most other korbanos oshom, in most of kodesh kochim, yeah, you take the whole kli and you splash it on the corner of the mizbech. You go around and you splash, like splashing it on the other corner. That's not hazah, but similar. It's nesinas dam. It's matan domim, as it's called. So if the big animal where shechita is free for all, and yet the climax moment of the blood hitting the mizbeach is only a kohen, ben oif shekovel a kohen l'nikoso, as I told you, ben oif, the bird, both chatas and osham, the only one that can do the melika, the beheading with a finger, which is the equivalent of shechita, is only kohen. All the more so, the hazah, the final stage of sprinkling the blood on the mizbeach, clearly will be done by a kohen. It's a very, very clear, classical, beautiful kol. I just want to point out other points. There are three advantages over an oif being shechted or nimlak over a behema. First, the behema, the shechita is done far away from the mizbeach. The oif, the shechita is done on the mizbeach. Secondly, as we see that the kohen does the shechita, but by the behema, anyone does the shechita. By oif, only the kohen. Thirdly, and Tessis now deals if that's a plus or a minus, but shechita is done with a knife, while melika is done with the body of the kohen. It's more like closely connected with the finger, the body of the kohen with the finger, right? So I'm thinking to myself, maybe it's a balbatish svor, maybe it's a good svor. Who brings the korban of the oif, of the bird? The poorer person. Oh, so you see, a poor person gets so much covered. The poor person gets treated in a much nicer way, right? His shechita is done in 3 levels higher than the regular guy. It's just a thought. I haven't seen it anywhere, but could be it's true. Okay, just a thought. Yeah, Rashi says about the fact that you burn the entire bird, even with the feathers, and it says nichoach. Oh, so Rashi says that's a nice smell. Feathers burning is unpleasant. No, Hashem likes that smell because it comes from the oni. What the oni brings Hashem is much more valuable than Mr. Big Rich Guy, the Gvir, who brings his big fat cow. Excuse my language. Yes. No kli, no kli. There's pushing or sprinkling, depends if it's chatas or osham. Oh, chatas or thing, I mean. No, hefsek also. Oh, very nice. Weiter. So there are 2 menachos which are waved, which are munaf, tnufa, by women, that is soitov and nizira. Amar Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yoshia Dedari. Rabbi Eliezer spoke to Rabbi Yoshia of his generation. Says Rashi, something which I didn't know. Says Rashi that there were 2 Rabbi Yoshias. One of them was a Tana, that actually I've met many times in the Gemara. There's a Tana Rabbi Yoshia, which always argues with Rabbi Yonason. Yeah, Rabbi Yoshia the Tana. Now Rabbi Eliezer is addressing a different Rabbi Yoshia in the Moira, the Dore of his generation. Says Rashi, the 2 Rabbi Yoshias lived together in the same generation. Rabbi Yoshia the Tana lived, had a very long life. So that's why when we talk about Rabbi Eliezer talking to Rabbi Yoshia, we have to distinguish and mark Rabbi Yoshia the Amoira as Rabbi Yoshia the Amoira. Yeah, not the Tana who still lived and was, I assume, very, very old. Amar Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yoshia. Maybe they were first generation. I don't know. So Rabbi Eliezer is talking to Rabbi Yoshia the Amoira, and he tells him the follows: Lo teisi v'karich. Don't sit on your feet. Maybe this would sit like like Indian sitting down. Don't sit on your feet. Don't sit down. Don't sit down. Stay standing. Ad omertli lahashmaitza, until you explain to me the sugya. I'm so anxious to know this sugya. Please don't sit. Don't sit down. Tell me what's going on over here. What's the question that was so urgent? Minayin lamincha soita sheteuna tnufa. How do you know that the mincha of a soita requires tnufa? You're telling me a soita, even though she's a woman, she can pick up and lift and wave the mincha. Who told you there's any tnufa at all? That's a question. Frek the Gemara retorting the question, Minolan? You're asking me where from? Go learn the Chumash, the Choira. Beguf eksiv. It says it in the guf, in the body of the text of the Torah. It says veheinif esamincha. It says that the kohen of who's dealing with the saita, he picks up and he does tenufa to the mincha. Ella must be the question. The question should be modified. Tenufa bebayli minolan. Oh, how do you know that the saita participates with the kohen and together with him she picks up the mincha? That's a question, because if you read the Pesukim, all you see is that the kohen does the tenufa. what does she do? She sits there like a lemel, whatever, hopefully doing truth. We're trying to get her to admit, yeah, but she's not doing anything. So how do you know that the soita does anything at all? It's nufa, and that's a valid question. The answer is again gzer shovo. Asya yad yad mishlomim. The word yad, which applies to tnufa, we learn yad from soita, of soita from yad mentioned the korban shlomim in Parshas Tzav. How is that? It says over here about soita velokach hakohen miyad isha. The kohen takes the mincha from the hand of the woman and he does tnufa. V'ksiv hosam, by the shlomim it says yodov tevieno. Over there, if you learn the pasuk there in Parshas Tzav, it says Yodov of who? Of the owner, the Israel. I want to bring Shlomim. I just want to bring a present to Hashem. I love Hashem. Give him a gift, Shlomim. What do I do? Yodov, his hands of the one bringing Tevi'eno, Esish Hashem Esachel V'lechozi Vi'enu, Lehani Foisot Nufa Lifnei Hashem. It says, as I told you yesterday, the two things of Tnufa of Shlomim are Chelev and Choze, the chest of the animal, right? And which goes to the Kohen, and the Chelev, which goes to the Mizbech, but before they separate, you lift them. Yeah, you lift them. I told you lift them with a coin. I was right, but it's not what it says in the Pasuk. The Pasuk said, sounds like as if the Yisrael brings it. So by Soita, it sounds like if only the coin brings it. Only the coin does Tnufa. By Shlomim, sounds like only the Bailim does the Tnufa. How do you create nice, harmonious relationship between different parts of Torah? Import, export, Gzeira, Shavo, Yad, Yad, Yadid, Yad, Yad. Very good. Yeah. Makan Kohen, Eflalan Kohen, Alalan Bailim, Afkan Bailim. Very nice. Whenever you have Tnufa, meaning both by Soito and by Shlomim, it's a common effort, common job of both the Kohen and the Bailim. How is that? HaKetzad. How can they both do it together? Kohen machnis yodo itachas yad Bailim umeinif. The Kohen inserts his hands under the hands of the Bailim and he picks it up. Let's talk about Shlomim. You want to bring Shlomim to Beis HaMikdash tomorrow? I'd love to. Yeah, and then what do? I pick up those pieces of meat, the choza and the keva, the imurim, and the Kohen puts his hands under my hands like this, and together we'll lift it up. Yeah, and this is also done by soito. Why isn't the problem of negia? First of all, because it's not bechiba, not derech chiba. It's a technical thing, and soon we'll see in Tosafos another solution that we'll see. I'll mention Tosafos about that. Ashkechan soito. Well, I'll deal with it, but first I want to finish the one line. Ashkechan soito. Okay, you got me with soito. Ashkechan. We found the source of soito, that the soito does the tnufa of the mincha zusammen together with the kohen. Nezira minolan. How do you know about a nezira? How do you know that a nezira or nozir actually? How do you know that they too have the common tnufa together with the kohen? Maybe it's only one of them. Asya kaf kaf misoito. By soito it says v'nosan al kapeho. By nozir it says v'nosan al kapeo nozir. The gzer of kaf kaf before it's yad yad. Kaf is palm, the palm of the hand. The palm and palm of the hand. Soito to nezir teaches me the same. Frek Tosafos. Tosafos is not bothered by negia. I'm not reading the whole Tosafos now. We can maybe read the beginning of Tosafos. Machnis kon yot tachased bailu memenif. The Tosafos is a Tosafos which is the second to last. Yeah, it's about the 7 or so widest line. Machnis kon yot tachased bailu memenif. So what are we saying? The Kohen is underneath, the Bailim is here. That's the Kohen, that's the Bailim, and Upa, they pick it up together, they lift together either the Mincha or the parts of the Shlomim. Correct Tosafos, isn't it a problem of Chatzitza? You told me something very interesting yesterday about tefillin, Chatzitza, with a tattoo. Yeah, V'im toimar, v'avi Chatzitza. It's Chatzitza. If you said that the Kohen has to lift it and the Yisrael has to lift it, whichever one's in the bottom is kind of missing the boat, right? If I am a Kohen and I'm supposed to touch let's say the Mincha, and she's on top of me, or her hands are on top of mine, or his hands by Shlomim, or yeah, then it's Chatzitza, right? Because it says, ain't nufa b'choivim pirush b'shutfim. Shutfim, let's say two people want to bring a korban Shlomim. they cannot do the tenufa together. So there's no tenufa. Dechil avid, linfu brother, linfu, kloimar, v'chulei. Yeah. I'm skipping one line. Imona chad min hashuv tzvin yodi tachas yad chavre. Avi chatzitza. Almad b'chei gavna avi chatzitza. Yeah, the line starts with the word b'chei gavna. You see that they can't lift and lift again, and they can't do the lifting with one, right? Lifting under the other. So how come that's good for a kohen and a bailim? Shloimar. Deloidami. You know why over here the kohen and the Israel lifting together is not the chatzitza for the one underneath? You know why? The bain and konu bailim. Avalosam gabi shnei shutvin chashim kavne chatzitza mechad menechiyot tachas yad chaveroi lefi she'en exeras hakosuv shishnei menifin. Oh, which means answer says it's a little bit similar lomdus to what we said in the previous Tosafos. When I'm supposed to be the owner of the korban, my name is Reuven, and I have another partner called Shimon, we both have to touch the korban equally. So one would always be chatzitza against the other. Because normally one person brings the korban, me, I have to bring the korban. No, says the other shutav, I have to bring the korban. So then they both really halachically have to touch the korban. The hands of the partner are interruption between you and the korban. But here the Torah says that what's the ideal picture in the eyes of the Torah of a kohen and the owner bringing the shlomim? The both should touch it. That's not called chatzitza, right? If the Torah says, I want both Mr. Kohen and Mr. Israel to lift it together, so the Torah is calling for that situation. It's not chatzitza. I'll give you a mashal. Let's say, one second. Let's say, I'll hear in a second. Let's say there would be halacha that imagine yourself a parallel halachic world, yeah? Let's say the Torah would have said everyone who goes to the mikveh really has to go to the mikveh, like a ger or a woman. They all have to have some holy, very heilig, full of messages, necklace, like a choker around their neck. Let's say. It wouldn't have been chatzitza, right? The Torah said so. You have to be completely undressed, right? And not even with one spinzel over here, and very clean. But that thing over here is a halachic requirement. It wouldn't have been chatzitza. That would be what the Torah wants, right? Same thing over here. If the Torah wants the Kohen and Israel to lift it together, so the Torah understands that the other hand is not a chatzitza. Yes, Rabbeinu. Yeah. Very good. Odish Loimar, I'm continuing Tosafos with you in mind. Odish Loimar, alternative answer. The Achinami Loma Rishakor Minechasio the Tachas Yad Bali Mamish. And Achinami says this is a practical solution. The coin is not under the Bailim as like this, as one literally under the other, and the thigh is on top. That would have been chatzitza. He's now denying the previous slomdus. It's inside the kli, first of all. It's inside the receptacle. Yeah. The coin holds it underneath. The coin holds it from here, and the bailim from here. And they lift it together. Look. Yeah. Under and above. Not under and above like this, but under above like this. Very good. That's a solution. Where am I taking it from? Very good. Also by Menachos. In other words, yeah. In other words, we saw by the sal, by the basket of Bikurim, also has to be lifted. And there it says Mefurash. It says that the Kohen would hold it in the rim, in the upper part of the basket. And the bringer, so to speak, the one bringing the Bikurim, the owner, the farmer from the Golan, he would have his hands underneath. Very good. And here it's the other way around. Yeah, but they found two different locations. There'll be a good solution for Negia also. Oh, so now if you have an issue with men, women touching, if you're more machmir, then enechanami, maybe there you should use the second solution. Yeah, the Kohen should hold it here, and the Saita should hold it somewhere else, and then you solve that too. Okay. Question before the Mishnah. Yeah. Says the Mishnah. Kol mitzvah, new Mishnah. Yeah, we're getting nearer and closer to the end of the longest perik in Shas. It's world record breaker. Kol mitzvah sheitluya ba'oretz, ein hanoeges ela ba'oretz. Any mitzvah that depends on the land, yeah, ein hanoeges ela ba'oretz only applies in Eretz Yisrael. Mitzvahs that do not depend on the land. Noeges ben ba'aretz ben b'chutz la'aretz. They apply both in Eretz Yisrael, and also in Chutz la'aretz. What's mitzvah tluya ba'aretz? What does it mean? Farmers, agricultural mitzvah. That's true, but the Gemara will take a long time to figure that out. Yeah, not a very long time. The question is, how do you know that? However, you're right. Chutz mean which are the two mitzvahs that apply also in Chutz la'aretz, even though there are agricultural mitzvahs. Chutz mean who? Orla v'kilaim. Which means Orla, yeah, meaning we all know that the first 3 years of the tree, when it's Orla, you're not allowed to benefit from that, not eat nor even benefit from Orla. It's also Bano, and that applies also in Chutz la'aretz. It's lochel mishem Sinai that Sofik Orla b'chutz la'aretz is okay, is allowed. You do not have to ask Tim McKenzie when you go to I don't know, Safeway, when you go to Walmart to sell fruit in Walmart. And I'm talking nonsense. I don't know, whatever. You go to the grocery store, wherever, to the vegetable store in Chutz la'aretz. Vegetable has no Orla. That's besides the point. But the Orla, the fruit, you don't have to find out whether it's Orla or not. But if you know that it's Orla, in Chutz la'aretz it's Osir M'doraisa. If you know that your next door neighbor Mackenzie has, that those apples are less than 3 years old, you're not allowed to eat them midoraisa. Midoraisa, okay? That the sofek is allowed. The kilaim, there are many forms of kilaim. We're not going now to talk about that, but kilaim, certain forms of kilaim are midorabonon, osir and chutzatz midorabonon. These are the two exceptions. Chodosh, not to eat from the new grains until Tes Zayin Nisan, until the day where Chodesh was supposed to be brought in times of Beis Hamikdash. You're not supposed to benefit from the new grains. Whatever is called new grains is another shaila. Chodesh in Chutz la'aretz doesn't apply. Does it or doesn't apply? Funnily enough, the Mechloekes still today starts from the Mishnah. Tanakama says Chodesh does not apply in Chutz la'aretz, or Blazer says it does. Right? So till today, right? I know that Shulchan Aruch in different places relates to different ways. One place in Sferas Tomer talks about it. It gives a different tone in a different place. Yeah, Chodesh and Chutz la'aretz is the big machlokes till today, right? I remember the first time I thought it was very funny. In English letter it said Yoshon, on the Chutz la'aretz thing, said Yoshon, right? Yeah, because some people, and it's better to be machmir, but the discussion didn't start today. It started already from the times of the Mishnah till today, Chodesh and Chutz la'aretz. Tosafos asks the question, we're not seeing Tosafos inside now. Tosafos asks the question, when you lived in Chutz la'aretz, I'm asking your question now, when you lived in Chutz la'aretz, did your wife, you're not married in Chutz la'aretz, okay, say that. So those of you who are married and living in Chutz la'aretz, did your wife take challah from the dog? Yes or no? Yes, no, you don't remember? It's been that long ago? Well, she did. Well, if she baked challahs, she did with a bracha. What about challahs mitzvah tluya ba'aretz? It's agricultural. It's to do with elamites with the rabbanon. Challah is only chayv in chutz la'aretz with the rabbanon. Now the question is why the Mishnah didn't mention it, because kilaim are mentioned in the Mishnah as a mitzvah tluya ba'aretz, which applies in chutz la'aretz, right? With the rabbanon. Yet challah is the same, and the Mishnah omits challah. Mishnah doesn't talk about challah. Answers Tosafos, he quotes the Yerushalmi. Tosafos says because you know why? Because challah of a goy is potter from challah. The isa, the dough of a goy, is potter from challah. If I know 1,000,000% that Mackenzie, I was mashgiach, nothing treif, all is good, and bread meikar din doesn't need hechsher. I mean, in the olden days, So he bakes and he doughs the challahs. There's no chiyuv to take challah at all. That's why the Mishnah didn't speak about that, because anyhow there's other exceptions. Mashenkin orla and kilaim. Even if the goy does it, it's an issue. Let's say by orla, the goy is the one who planted it. It's a problem as long as it's orla. Kilaim b'diavad is mutter anyways, but that's besides the point. One type of kilaim is mutter b'diavad, but some are not. We'll discuss that tomorrow. Let's finish here. We have 2 minutes to go. I would finish here. We have a question now. What's my tluya, my eina tluya? The Gemara will try and find out what is the definition of mitzvah tluya ba'aretz, ve'eina tluya ba'aretz. Thank you very much. Atzlocha bracha. Chala, a gilgul of a goy, a chalas goy, isas goy, excuse me. The isa, the dough, it's the gilgul of the actual pouring the things together, the beginning of the process of the kneading was done by a goy, it's potter from challah. If it's owned by Israel and the Gilgul is a goy, that's another shaila. But if it's all a goyish thing, no problem to eat it. As opposed to orla, for example. If the orla was planted by Mackenzie, then you're not allowed to eat from the orla. Yeah, yeah. Even the chutzarts, if you know that it's orla. Beseda, Tzlochu Brocha, thank you very much. May we have many, many, many Yeshuas very, very soon. Should see Mashiach very soon. Such a shaky situation in the whole world, and we all we can do is daven to Hashem, be mischazik. Tzlochu Brocha, thank you very much.